I want to give Ariana as much time as possible so she can get through everything and share all of her travels with us. So why don't we open up with a word of prayer, thanking God for this morning and this time. Holy God, we praise you and we thank you for bringing us all together once again to learn more about how you're at work in our world. And we ask that you will speak through Ariana as she shares about her travels to Ghana once again, and we'll hear the way that you are at work there and at work through her and at work in our community today. And so we love you so much. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Is that going to stay up there?
Do you want me to
Yeah.
get rid of? Yeah, I did. I'm happy to.
If you don't mind.
Yeah. And so we'll still be able to see his talking, but not the video. All right, perfect.
Okay. Welcome back. This is part 2.
Yeah.
Part 2 will start on goats. And goats, goats were really fun. A big part of my experience because they were everywhere. So literally all over the place. On my walks and in the food. I didn't eat them, but like they were everywhere. And it actually was pretty cool because the stories I have sort of the goats prompted conversations with lots of people, which was really nice. So so first goat story is that I'm a vegan and my favorite was this groundnut soup, and it comes and all of a sudden there's these 2 big chunks of goat in it. So I was looking forward to it all day. And I was so distraught. And like, you could see my face. They took it back. They took the goat out, but it just still tasted like goat. So I couldn't eat it. But it was so crazy. A couple of days later in the arts market, I happened to run into this couple, and they were at the same restaurant that I was at, and we started this conversation because they could see. They said, "Yes, we saw your face," and they brought out that dish. So it just goats kind of just sort of, it was fun. And then another goat thing, as I was walking down back to where I stayed, I sort of befriended this kind of, and I'll show you. I don't know if I have pictures. This family. And they didn't speak much English. Like this was a family that didn't go to school, but it was like 5 kids, and one was like maybe 13, carrying all their machetes and working all day. But I was like, so what are you gonna have for dinner? And they talked about this soup, and then they're like, yes, and then we'll have the goat. I was like, wait, what? Anyways, the goat, like, basically, they're not their pet. And I was like, but isn't the goat your pet? And they're like, no, the cats are their pets. So that was funny. The third goat story was when at the end of the medical clinic, there was this cute goat outside I heard this like cute little, goat. And then I took a nap, but anyway, that evening was a big goat stew. Like nice. So, but anyway, goats are big. They're there, but they are used, for food. Anyway,
I had to tell you, Ariana, I had the same experience in China with dogs.
Oh, okay.
Going to a small rural village, and there were dogs all around. I asked, are these pets? They were obviously, and they said, no, they're food.
Yeah. So the goats were fun. Yeah.
Do they use the hides for anything? The goat hides?
Good question. So the goat hide goes on top of some of the drums.
Yeah.
So it's a drum making village, so they would use it, and it's fascinating. I have a video, they just shave off the goat hair. So, but there are a couple goat stories, and they were just everywhere. I won't show the video. Chickens and roosters and hens were also everywhere, and I have a video I took recording, but basically I was up at 5:00 every morning because the rooster was like there's nothing I could do. But it was very cool way to wake up because I was in my mosquito net, and then I heard the rooster, and then also about 5 you hear this sort of brushing because it's dirt. The floor is all dirt outside. And so they would hire, this woman, her job was to come and it was kind of like a broom, but just sweep the dirt. And so I woke up, it was a very cool feeling to wake up to the rooster and then hear this gentle kind of sweeping. So
did you go to bed earlier also?
I did. Yeah. I mean, because it's not like you're going out partying or anything. So I kind of went to bed early with my headlamp and a book. This is another interesting, I just kind of came out and then there was all this cattle and it was just like turn the corner and they were there. So, but it's another, job they do. This was fascinating, because I really tried to be, a good Christian and just like talk to people and make an effort to make these connections. And this was one, I just happened to start a conversation on, one of my hikes, and he lived up there. And come to find out, I had also befriended this boy, Esther's grandson, Prince, who's this big soccer, really into soccer. But then I met him, I saw him again on the hike, and it was so cool. This is his house, but he was so proud he had this, he wanted to show me like where he kept all of his chickens and stuff. And then he also had a store along the side of the road, and he would sell backpacks. But it's just the pride they had in their house and their jobs, and just to make that connection that he was like the soccer coach. But and yeah, so this was one person I met. And okay, so this was fun. This was the beginning of the village health outreach. There was this big ceremony at the Chief's Palace. And I don't know if I mentioned this, like the Chief's Palace, I was really expecting like this palace, like some cool event that evening. But it was still the kind of makeshift sort of huts, but a little bit, definitely nicer. But again, I was just sort of thrown into this, and I had no idea what to expect. I had only taught at this school one day, and I taught them just this welcome, welcome song. And then they come, Power comes and like, we're going to the Chief's Palace, and you're going to sing the song with the kids. I was like, oh, okay. So I went there, and what can I do? I just did it. Like, there's nothing you can do. But it's this big ceremony. I tried to record some of it, but I didn't want, to take too many pictures. But it was fascinating. Like, they blessed the ground, and, I didn't understand much of what they're saying. But then you come in and you go in and you kind of greet everyone. But the kids, and again, it was like so hot, sweaty, but they sang and they did it. This is Cindy kind of giving a talk about what the week would look like. But this stood out to me. Like, I was in the back, and I don't know if you can read it, but it said, great God of wonders. And all the chairs had kind of like scratched in little signs I just thought that was really cool. Like, it struck me, like I just sat down totally like, what is going on? And then I saw that, and I felt kind of at peace, like the entire trip, just very calm and very just sort of embracing it all. So these are the kids, the older kids that came with me from the school. Yes. And that's the stool, that's just a picture. Okay. And so now, this is the Village Health Outreach, and this is what lots of you guys donated to, and thank you to the church that gave so much money to kind of help with all the supplies and to help all these people. And really, it's an outreach to reach all the people in the nearby communities. So this was a day. This was getting ready for it. It was a big deal because medicine. Oh, we have doctors in here, so the medicine, like this, getting all this medicine was a huge deal. And so these were the pharmacists that came, and there was all this logistical stuff. Like, it was like hours late, and then took hours to unpack. Because does anyone want to guess why it took so long? Do you think we just kind of took it out of the box? Every single thing had to be counted.
Oh.
Down to like every little thing, because you had to make sure it was all there, and that the pharmacist. But it was exciting. It was a great experience. Like, I got very good at stacking. This is one of the doctors. His name is Xavier. Pharmacist Cindy. And then this is one of my good friends. She was she's now going to be a medical student, so she was applying to med school, but she came to be part of it. So I kind of did like a lot with her when she was there. So yeah, so much medicine. Very organized, and it took hours, like literally hours. But so thank you to everyone who donated.
Is that now a permanent space?
Good question.
Pharmacy or
no, that's actually, I didn't explain that. It's a great question. So this is actually where it's sort of in the community, and you can see there's bars on the window, but it's where they actually have a couple computers. Cindy helped make this. So sort of like this kind of internet place that you could come in, like a lot, like, does that make sense? That you come, so that's, well, there's nowhere else to store any of the medicine. So they kind of took over, we moved all the computers to the side
Oh.
and then took, the tables back, and then that's where we stored it. It had to be held, and this was in sort of the middle of a town. There's kind of like, and you'll see in a minute, because the big medical building that they're building next to the school, it wasn't finished because there wasn't enough funds. Does that make sense? So it couldn't be held there yet. So it was in the kind of the town center.
So I apologize if you already
Oh.
answered this. Was this community health clinic gonna last a week?
It's
month,
like 5 days.
5 days. And
like-
so,
Yeah.
and did you go through all the supplies in 5 days?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'll get to, all of it. And then, but then that's it. There's no more money.
And so then do the doctors and pharmacists move to another outreach clinic in another community?
No,
or do they
this
go
is
back to
it.
their permanent job?
they go back to their permanent job. So
Okay.
yeah, so what happened? It's like, and there's some more pictures, but doctors, so she organized, and a lot of people come back every year because it's been going on, for many years. And so it's doctors from around Ghana,
Okay.
specialists come, and they're paid. They're
Mhm.
definitely paid because they can't just take off their job. And so they're paid, but it's a great experience for them as well. They all come together and they know each other. So it's like and they work all day. Like and people, I'll show you, but that first day, people know about it and they line up. They're there early in the morning.
And this is the only medical care they get all year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was, very eye-opening to me. And this is her, yeah.
So it's sort of like an annual physical for everybody,
Mhm.
and medication is given, but the medication doesn't only last for
That's it.
Yeah.
a short period.
That's it. And
Not the whole year,
Mhm.
if they need medication.
Yeah, and there's people, like, there's just stories when you start talking to, like, her brother had, one of the people that helped cook the meals, her brother, in their 40s died from just not a just a boil or something that if you went in to the hospital here, one shot, you're fine. But there was no money. And then there's no money to even get the medicine. There's no money to even get to the hospital. Like, you can't even get anywhere. Does that make sense?
So if
So this is so crucial.
So if they had to go to the hospital,
They don't have money to
they don't
get
have money to go, but
transportation.
if they did, how would it take? 2 hours?
2
5
hours.
hours? Okay. That's
2
if
hours.
they had a vehicle. If they had to walk.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, and I'll point out one, actually I might have missed it. There's a picture of her. She helped at this school, and Philomena, and she was pregnant she was pregnant, and it took about a week for us to kind of get a conversation. But apparently the year prior, she had very tragically lost the baby because there was a complication, couldn't get to the hospital in time. And so it was really like, very traumatic, because like here you'd be in, it'd be fine, but because it took 2 hours, the baby, Okay, so I don't know if you remember, but this was really cool because this was the mom and the baby that I met that like second day on the Trotro bus. And she showed up at the clinic. Like, it was just really, really cool. I was like, we recognize each other, but the vaccinations for the kids, that was huge. Like, because then they can all get their vaccinations and they're fine. It was really good. So as you can kind of see, this is like the village, sort of center. So they kind of made makeshift sections. Like, one was eye care, one was the testing for malaria, one place, but everyone would get, line up, and then you get in the chairs, and it worked. Like, but every evening, the doctors, we'd all come back. Everyone was so exhausted. And then they kind of would discuss like what worked, what, could we do better, and the cases. And it was interesting because Cindy, they brought up one case. This man had come in very distraught, like, because his best friend had just died, and was drinking, very heavily and didn't know how to cope. And basically she said, like, if he hadn't come in, he would have killed himself that evening. She said it like, absolutely. And so the fact that he came in, and I think that for the first time they did have like a psychiatrist, like they're starting to address mental illness a bit more. And I was talking to the psychiatrist that was there, and she did say something. It was very interesting because it's not addressed. She said sometimes, we put on a smile even though we're very not okay inside. It was just very interesting. Now this was cool. So on my, not cool, it's not cool. Like it's sorry, but it like, so I was walking on my way home from school. I walked through the little village, and I sort of like, and she didn't speak really any English. And she was like, oh, here, and then she was sort of like showing me I took a picture of her, I don't know if you can see, but her foot. And I told her, well, you should come to the clinic. Like, this is not good. She couldn't walk. And she's like, I don't know how to get there. But anyway, I took a picture, and then I showed it to Cindy and the doctors. And somehow, she showed up at the clinic, and it was addressed and like bandaged, and yeah. So it was a lot, pretty intense. But and so this is still at the clinic. Fortunately, I'm not a doctor or anything, so my job was to pass out stickers. It was the best job. Like, I was just like, it was so much fun. And I like kids, so it was just, I had a very easy job. And some of the local children just kind of came and sort of, watched. But it was interesting. The chief and the elders got all of their medical care done first. Like they had very VIP status. So these are some of the children, and it was just that they don't have cell phones, so they don't really ever see themselves. So they were really excited. Like he wanted a picture with his little sister. It was just very sweet. So there were 200 malaria cases. Like that's a lot. And other stuff. But fortunately there was only, I think she said, just a handful of HIV cases, which was really good. And that the kids didn't have it or something like that. So
what about COVID? Did they escape COVID?
I don't think there was I don't recall any.
Never
COVID.
got there.
I don't even know. It was the malaria was the big. Malaria was huge. But so there's all these, like in Ghana, you can get there. There's all these it's very there's so many malaria pill, like it's anyway. Because it's so cheap to get the malaria pills there, like they definitely was like, we buy one, and I brought one home just in case I would get it again, because in here it's just harder once you're in the US to get treated, but there they have this very special pill that's like boom, you're done. Okay, so that was the village health clinic. And so that, again, like you said, it was a week, but people hear about it and they know about it. So it was like hundreds per day. And then the doctors kind of just kept going overtime, even though it was supposed to like cut off at a certain time. And then it was neat. Then everyone would come back. And so it started, I was at the place kind of for a week by myself pretty much. And then all of a sudden there was like 50 people there, and then back to myself. So it was kind of like something to get used to, but it was really nice to talk and meet these people. And so I met one young doctor, and just talking, they just, it's hard. Like so many want to just come to the US to continue studying because they want opportunities. And it's just, he's like, yeah, I'm trying to get into this program, and I don't eat so I can save money to go to school. And it's just like hard to comprehend that they're saving money by they don't eat anything. Like they just.
What was roughly the population of this village that was being served by the clinic?
Oh, what did I say? It was like, I think that like 5,000?
5,000?
I think. No, maybe it's not that. I have that in the first one. I don't even know. Yeah, but then it was out, people,
Come in
And
from
the
that.
outskirts.
yeah,
Surrounding area.
yeah, because this
Yeah.
is like the only kind of area. So again, like the medicine, and it was very interesting. And kind of sad too, but then sometimes the medicine went missing. And so there was
Right.
kind of like, Sophie, we had to kind of monitor so that you didn't take it, like some of the doctors and nurses that were there were kind of taking it for their personal use, like,
Oh, no.
which was kind
Or
of
their
sad.
family or whatever.
Yeah, and so that was like,
Yeah.
what?
Ariana, how was the chief selected, chosen, elected?
The chief, actually, I think it's kind of like it was a woman chief, and then it's kind of like, and then she died, and then it's like the hierarchy or something. Then this guy, and he's kind of old. He's older.
But it's not family. It's not like it was her son or,
I actually don't even, I don't really know. Like, I just was so overwhelmed that I just knew he was the chief. And then yeah. But I think they're hoping when because he's kind of old to get to have another woman. Okay. So, yes, so that was that.
There it
Oh,
was.
this,
dear.
okay, yeah, this was kind of pretty impactful to me. So Ali and Sadia, and I met them, right when I went to school. So I was there. The health clinic didn't start until maybe about 2 weeks after I was there. So I was teaching a lot and just thrown into the school. And then I just remember looking at her fingers, and it was like these big, like kind of sort of like big blood kind of blisters. And I'm just in my head, well, obviously that's just kind of what medicine they use. This is just what it is here, how they heal things. And so I didn't really think anything of it. But then, I mentioned it to Cindy, and then she ended up going to the clinic, and I found the backstory is she was electrocuted at home because the electricity is all kind of jerry-rigged or whatnot. Not treated. Nothing was done. And this is after it's been like treated, like healed. And so, she came in and they bandaged it up. But the thing, and what she told me, they're very neglected children, like super neglected. And you can tell by like their, their outfits. So whenever Cindy's there, they kind of come and stay with her. But what struck me is that she still came to school. She played the recorder. She was dancing like out, playing games, doing all the dancing. But then I thought, like, there was no pain medicine. Like, she didn't have any Tylenol. Like, there was nothing. Like, she wanted to be in school and just be part of everything, that you're coming with like, sorry, this is like deep, like,
Wrong.
Those are burn marks. Those are burn
and it
marks
was
on
so deep, but that like, and for me, like if that would happen to me, I'd be like curled up in a ball, like scream, like but that's all they know. That's all, Anyway, that kind of like when I thought about the fact that she just was in so much pain and still wanted to come and learn and go to school. So, yeah. And so I kind of helped her towards the last week because there were no Band-Aids. So I kind of I brought my Band-Aids that I had brought and kind of gave her some just so it didn't get infected again, because you wouldn't want it to get bad. But they were, they came and they stayed sometimes at the Inkabom house, and we played music and we danced with them. But this was kind of hard when you really think about that. And just the life that they have at their own home is just not good. Like I think like the cousin lived with them and like is sleeping in that chicken coop place. Like it's just very sad.
When you use the word neglected, I'm trying to understand what you meant. I mean, they're living in very poor circumstances. I understand that. And,
Mhm.
you know, and they don't have a lot of things, but when you use that term, did you mean parents?
Parents are
Neglecting
neglecting I don't know the full details, but what Cindy said is that they're neglected and abused at home.
Oh,
Oh, my
abuse.
goodness.
Yeah. I don't know, but she knows of these, like she knows, and that's why when they come and stay with her.
I see.
Yeah,
You
but I
think
don't
it's just
know.
cultural understandings of how to discipline children. I mean, I
Oh,
think of
that's
how
a-
often,
Oh,
how
I
we've
forgot to tell
changed
that
from what
story.
you hear
Yeah.
about, say, my grandparents' day when.
Well, let me go
Yeah.
back. Okay, I'll go
Yeah,
back.
I
If
don't-
you're
It's a good question.
No, I'll tell you because it came up. If you go back, if you were here last week, go back to the school slides. There was an incident. Oh, like, and because you start to have conversations, and then this boy was like, at one point, yeah, my dad hits me, and I was like, what? And like, and what it is a cultural thing, but then I didn't know because he felt safe enough to tell me. And I told Cindy, and I think they talked to the parents, but all I could do was say, well, that's not right. That's not okay. And that shouldn't happen. I mean, what else there wasn't much I could say, but then there was an incident with one of the teachers that also,
Some of them just believe.
Yeah.
You know,
but that Cindy found out about it and talked to the teacher. But it's sad. Yeah, it's,
spanking was perfectly allowed when I was a kid.
I know. And so oh, and the boy was something like, we're not supposed to tell Americans that this happens.
Yeah, well.
I know, but he did, but it's not, I mean, but again, what could you, like, there's nothing I could do but say, I'm sorry, this shouldn't happen.
You know what, it reminds me that there are layers of poverty
Mhm.
that we don't even understand in
Oh,
this
yeah.
country. Even our poorest citizens, for the most part, have some access to these things.
Yeah.
I was telling you, you mentioned before, I sat down with one of my students from last semester who's from Ghana, and I was telling her about your presentation. And she came in seeking a job. And she said, well, I was raised in the city, so things were different. We had schooling there. We do get services from the government. And I asked her, I said, well, was your family fairly well off?
Yeah.
She said, oh no, not really. She said, we had to work really hard and scrimp and be very poor to get here. And now that I've won this opportunity to come to the United States, because we have quite a number of students from West Africa at MC, not just there, but Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, etc. She said, I'm scrimping. I need to work. I don't know how I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
She's an A student.
Yeah.
In English, at least.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's a difference, I guess, even within the country.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, but this was very, very rural. And it was hard. Like when I leaving, there was a kid that's like, basically like, take me with you. I kind of, and I sort of, when I left, I kind of had to just sort of, because it was too, it got too emotional. I thought this was cool. I went, this was the neighborhood kid, but I went to support his soccer game. And I'm glad I went because it was neat, to see this is kind of how they had fun. And all these kids showed up and they did a big game. And, at one point, the big game, they actually had uniforms. So they had 2 sets of uniforms. And it was fun. Like I bought like some plantain chips and I was just like, I know I wasn't supposed to buy them anything because we're not supposed to do that when you come visit. But I was like, this is okay. I got all these plantain chips. But then, and I gave them out, but then it was like, the kid was eating them and then he started to like put them in his pocket just to save. And so then I just got another bag and I'm like, take it. But like, there's that. They were they don't know when their next next meal is going to be. And to see that was like, whoa, like just a lot. So this was fun to watch. But it was really heartbreaking when I took these pictures because I was just like, oh my goodness, like you can see they're just all mismatched shoes and then like their toes are coming out. And again, I just wanted to go buy like soccer shoes for everyone. I could, but they had fun. Like they were just having a blast, and it was really. I'm glad I went out. Like I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, why not? And went to their game. So
What
that
do
was.
they wear as shoes? Do they wear?
This
like
is
a
they must.
sneaker type?
They're sneakers, but they're sneakers that like I just donated my kids' old shoes.
I think.
They get theirs somehow, and they're just completely mismatched. Like his foot is coming out of the shoe.
Makes me think of all the shoes I need.
I know that's exactly. Okay, now we're gonna get to some of the church stuff. So this was an experience. So the church that I went to, took me there. It was just right across the street from where I was staying. And so this is what it looked like. And I figured out eventually, like this was like the temporary place, but then right there, they were building the actual church. But I just loved how they like had adorned it with like this pretty fabric, and they had a pulpit. So O was like, let's go. It's 2 hours long. I was like, oh, okay. All right. And I went, and then it kind of like nothing really started on time. So I was there for a while, but I'll play you the music just to like. And so people would kind of just sort of just in the local areas sort of trickle in throughout the service. And it was just I was sitting here, but they wore their most beautiful outfit to church. And it was just I think this one inspired me to get this fabric. It was just she was sitting in front of me. I just thought it was stunning. So that's like Deeper Christian Life Ministry. So that's the church I went to. And the kids came. So this was one of, I don't even know, like there was the minister that came later. I don't know if he was I don't know, but he was hysteric. Like he was just so into it. And I just went, and then at one point they're like, why don't you, he did a great job because he did say it in Tree, but then he also kind of translated for me. Like he knew so that was really nice. But then I also had to go up apparently at one point. He's like, why don't you come out? And I read I read a scripture thing. So I was like, well, I can't be like, no, I'm not going to come up.
So you read it in English, then he translated for them.
I read it in English, and he would ask, people would stand up and read in English. And so he wanted, I did the same thing. So it was quite an experience. Like, and I definitely, I don't have a picture of the actual minister, but it was great because he at one point, and the sermons were great. Like it was very like, whoa, inspiring. And, I definitely gave a lot of money, because the minister, he was so excited because he was going to go to some retreat that was all the ministers coming together. And he was raising money, so that's why I gave so much. But it was going to be the first time he goes on an airplane. And he was just like so excited, and just to see that was super cool.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember the first time I went on an airplane.
Yeah, so I really, 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 that was neat. Oh, here's just so you can hear kind of, this guy was so, here's the minister. So he was very, dressed up, and it was very serious. Everything was serious, but it was fun because you could see the lizards were going all around, and then the chickens, like it was just like, where am I? Yeah.
Or the music that you played sounded like it was recorded.
It was
Were
recorded.
there any instruments being played,
No.
even not even drums?
No.
It sounded like
No, but this was a small church. Like you could hear other churches, like, and I just, this is where kind of the host took me. So I could have gone probably where there was more music, but I kind of just did this, and then I went each week.
But that's interesting.
How
Christianity
many
has
people
made
were
its
in
way
church
over there.
when you was there?
Like this was, and then there like maybe 10 and some kids, and then like 7 here. So it's a small, but this was just like the small one that I
They
happened
have
to go
lots of
to.
churches and no doctors.
There was churches everywhere.
Yeah.
那还有我们那什么耶？还有我们爸爸，哎罗那耶。说跟你们还also，然后国家现在，那么是国家现在，哎 no no，那你今年
So this is what I heard. So and then he would translate for me. Oh, how do I go? Oh, there we go. Churches everywhere. They dressed up. These are just the different churches along the road. But like Atam, my drum teacher, he went to a church in a cross, so 2 hours away. Can you imagine? We're like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but to go 2 hours to go to your church, and then the service is like 4 hours, like really long.
What's your Sunday?
It's your Sunday.
Is Christianity the primary religion?
Yeah. Yeah. So this I just thought was neat that it was kind of everywhere.
Are there denominations like we have, or is it just generic Christianity?
It's generic.
But they're not.
Oh,
Catholic.
there's also Muslim. Like I'll show you. There's a mosque. So there's Muslim population too. The funerals were kind of a big deal too. They're black and red. You wear black and red for a year. Lots of music, parades, and then it was neat because they'd have these posters, like when someone died, they would have these posters put up. So
Of that person.
yeah, it was just
Remember.
different.
Home call.
What?
Home call.
Yeah, so
Going home.
yeah, so it was just, they had their ages and stuff like that. But there were a lot, I remember talking, and there was a lot of, they said there's been a lot of funerals because there was a lot of there was a lot of cases. So people were just, yeah. But it was a big thing
You
there.
had mentioned before, the services last maybe 2 to 4 hours or something
Yeah.
like that. But also you mentioned, I think early on, that people would trickle in. So I guess my
Yeah.
question is, I mean, given the length of the service, I mean, in our service, people will trickle in maybe the first 5 minutes.
Mhm.
So, but they're there for
15.
95% of the time. I'm just curious, when you say trickle in, is it sort of like what we have, or do they kind of show up after a half hour and then?
Let's say if it started at 9, people would get there like 9:30. So
Okay.
nothing was like promptly starting. But then if you kind of wait until most of the people were there, then would start. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
they all had to walk there.
Yeah.
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 Was
And
that
they would stay, I guess, until the end. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
I left early once.
Yeah.
But that was
Most of
me.
the people would try to
Most of the
stay.
people would stay.
But is that
And
true
these
about
hymns too.
dates for other times? In other words,
To school,
I
you
have
mean,
a
or-
son-in-law, we talk about Latino time, which is meaning always late.
Yeah,
You know,
everything was
if you
kind
tell
of
them to be
late.
there at 3, they'll come at 3:15,
Yeah, everything
3:30.
was late. Or there just wasn't the
Kinda loosey
super
goosey.
urgency. Like the bus was late, so then school started 2 hours late. It was,
They just swing with.
hikes and walks. I had a great time. This is when I feel like I really felt God's presence with me, just being out in nature. This is like, I call them the ant castle. Sorry, I'm gonna speed up because I have a lot more to go.
That might-
Instead of like an anthill it was just beautiful. I sat there, this was when I was actually having a pretty rough day, and just kind of sitting there looking out on the vista. This was way out kind of on a walk, and it was amazing because I was just sitting there, didn't see anything, and then this man came down with a machete, like bananas on his head. Didn't, totally that was his job, traveling back and forth, with food, but perfect English, he said, and he must have just seen my, how I was, and said, tomorrow's another day, it's gonna be okay, or something like that. And I was just like, I didn't even know what to say because it was perfect,
Isn't that lovely?
perfect English. It's like, and it's so what I needed to hear at that exact moment. And then he just kept walking, and I was like, well, that's a sign. Like, I don't think I've ever had like that big of a, like, you can do this, Ariana sign,
I
like,
think you're right.
ever in my life. So that was really, really cool. Again, just on the walks, and this is an example. I took it for Dash. She wanted a close-up picture of how it was made with the mud and the, yeah, and I love the flowers everywhere. I'm gonna go a little faster. Okay, beautiful, very cool flowers. These are the markets. It took me a while to get used to because you're supposed to haggle. Like, that's kind of out of respect for them, but it's hard like saying, you know, it's 25 cents. No, I think I should only give you 5 cents. Like, I was just like, I'll just pick, like, you know what I mean? You're haggling over like $1 or like $2, but anyway, so that was really fun just to go. I mean, again, it's craziness. It was like 100 degrees. So the cultural dance troupe came after the health clinic and they did this big, amazing acrobatic show, the drumming. Again, this was she sat on my lap and towards the end, she's like, bread, can you go get me a piece of bread? And like, I snuck into the kitchen and just got bread because there's no food. They're just hungry. And like, yeah, it was hard. Oh, the other thing the doctors were also talked to take, less portions because there wasn't, you know, because people would come and be so excited all this food would take too much food. So just to be mindful. Yeah, so this was the dance troupe and the acrobatic, their videos. I'm gonna go a little bit quicker. So this was awesome. I got to, as part of the grant, I put in like 3 sort of excursions just to get the cultural immersion. So I took an internal flight, went up to Moly National Park. There for one night, I did all 3 safaris because they were $10. So I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. The night safari was so it was the northern region, baboons, antelopes. The night safari I was so excited about, but it ended up it was like I'll say this. But honestly, it started to rain and then it got cold and I was it was awful and we didn't see it. I mean, it was bad. Like you couldn't see any animals and I was freezing. And then you get back to like the hotel and there's no hot water. And you're just, that was pretty rough. But I was like, we just went to bed and then we got up in the morning and did a walking one, which is when I saw my first elephants. And then did the Jeep one a couple hours later after lunch. This was fun. This was like just there. And to get to the safari, we had to go there, but we were here. And then we just ran into someone on a motorcycle because it was a teenager. And if we had started to walk, it would have like charged us. But there was like no one telling us that. But anyway, peep friendly, super friendly. The guy took us each on his motorcycle and like got us around the elephant. So that was just really fun. So yeah, Moly National Park. That was the night safari. Like it started off really cool, but then the rain came. But this is like the hotel room and the elephants were just there. It was very cool. Warthogs. Oh, here, I'll just show you one. Then I thought there's 2. So this is when I first saw the elephants. Like that was the moment. And it was so neat because I was in this field of mint, so you could hear, it was just.
Or was it a group?
Yeah, a group of a couple, just a couple people. This was the walking tour. And then those were the baboons, but this was fun.
That include those? No, right.
Those are those?
No, 3 child elephants.
Okay.
And so I took that it was just my 3 boys in the bathtub. Like, I was like, oh my God. Like, so I took it for them.
Not really, huh?
It was just really cool to see them in the watering hole. Baboons.
Oh, they're so fast.
It was really cool. I'm gonna go fast. Sorry. So elephants, warthogs, safari was very cool. This is the best. The guide missed it, and all of a sudden we turned the corner, and this.
Oh no!
I know that.
Oh my gosh! Backing up. Oh god.
Coming off dogs.
Oh my god. Okay, now I'm like a little worried. Yeah!
Yeah, so that was really neat. But again, can I go backwards, Chris?
Yep.
Okay, so this on the way back from Moly, this is like the rural huts alongside. We actually we couldn't go in it, but this is the mosque, like the oldest mosque in Africa. And that's bringing shea butter back. And I have it here and I'll leave it here so you guys can bring a container. Pure shea butter from the shea trees, like really, 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 really cool. So I got 3 containers. So this was, I would also say, besides the health clinic, this was a pretty emotional part of the trip for me. we took, a couple hour drive to go to the Cape Coast. Cape Coast is a historic town located in central region of Ghana, known for its role in the transatlantic slave trade. So she said we had to go there, Elmina Castle. I'll just read it for people on Zoom. So Elmina is another historic town, primarily a fishing port, famous for its beautiful beaches and the Elmina Castle Coconut Grove Beach Resort. Elmina Castle, the mine, was built by the Portuguese in 1482 in Elmina, formerly Gold Coast, a region rich in gold and ivory resources. It was the first trading post built on the Gulf of Guinea. The castle served as an outpost for the Portuguese to trade their goods for slaves, many thousands being kept in dark, damp dungeons. So I did do the tour here. And it was really, it's hard. So this is the water would have come up to here. And so this is the door, which they purposely made small and narrow for the slaves to go through, and then they would go right on the ship. So they were just taken, put in these dungeons, and just put on the ships. And they on the tour just said that the Dutch governor would come, all the women would be down there, and he'd just point to a woman, they'd bring her up here through there, and she'd be raped. And there's nothing, that was just what happened. And then it was all black. It was very striking because the colors was just that white and the black. And this was where if anyone did anything wrong or they were just put in there to die. So yes. And but then it was just so interesting to see this castle, and then the beautiful ships there. And then there was again a soccer game, but this was hard. This was definitely a hard thing. To see that like actual right there. Okay, so this is the hotel I stayed with after we went to the Elmina Castle. It's like a Hans Hotel, crocodile hotel. So there were crocodiles in here and beautiful flowers, and it's kind of run down, but you could see how in its glory days, it's just a beautiful place. And they had this amazing birds. Oh, I'm feeding a crocodile there. I won't shit. It was really fun. Amazing birds. They're called weaving birds. Made these weaving nests. I did the park where you'd have this canopy walkway. The tour guide just did nature, and the neatest thing, he was like, because there's so much pollution and stuff in the city, like he was like, this is nature, just breathe it in. Like it was just like he had to explain that this was nature, but that also even the strangling fig, like things that they all had purpose, like it was used for some medicinal. This was just, I went to go and see the ocean. It was great. So Cocoa Bright Beach, that was just for fun. I'm wearing one of the dresses that was made, and she was a seamstress. She was lovely, and it was great because it was all these tattered magazines. I pointed to that. So the next day, like I had that dress and I saw it on the mannequin. It was really cool. This is Michael. He's one of the teachers I got. I just thought this smock was really cool. This was one of the guides. So I got him, had him a shirt made. And this was my friend gave me this shirt. And basically I left pretty much all my clothes that I brought there. So but fashion was really fun. And this was made and it has pockets and yeah. But again, this was like $5. So I had no problem. I like clothes and I felt like I was giving to the community. So I just kept making things, like I have a jumpsuit, I have a couple dresses. And then also I paid them to do the laundry because I felt that I could give them more money that way, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Auntie Esther, she did all the cooking for me. She became really good friends to the point of like at the end, she gave me this cooking lesson for my favorite soup. Amazing food. This was my favorite. She had an outdoor kitchen. And then this was inside, and everything's just done with your fingers. And it was the best food I've ever had in my entire life.
So she knew not to put any goat into your.
Yes, we had, and there was the little, I was like, no, I mean, clearly I love the food. I took so many videos, but you can see she's, you know, holding it and then you stir. Oh, so good. Like just amazing. Arts Center. This is where I did the shopping, the baskets. So this was intense. This was in Accra, the kente cloth. Chris got so we saw the kente. This is where they make that. This, I'll show you this quickly because it was just fascinating how fast he moved. And if you look at and oh, wow. Like it was really yeah, that was really neat. I did a little jewelry making. So this, I'll try to go really fast into music. So this is where I was teaching. They were so loved to learn. They just came wanting to learn every day. These boys, I taught them one day just on the whiteboard, just started to teach them how to read music. I was like, why not? And, you know, I showed them the treble clef and the staff, and the next day, and paper, they didn't have a lot of, but the next day they came in when I was like sort of just, you know, on their break, because it's kind of, they can go wherever they want sort of in the school. And they had made like all these treble clefs and like songs, and they had brought in their hymnals because some of them had hymnals. So they made that connect. They saw the music notes in the hymnals, but then they brought it to me to show me like the next day. It was, and then it was just, and you know, he wrote "Welcome to Music" because like that's what I had put on there. It was just, and these were a lot like 5th grade boys, you know. Here, I'll play one of these just so you can, and these are the Biko songs I did with my school. And they're all just about like, you know, peace, unity, planet, good things. So you can, and go with the British accent.
You're a holy place.
This is what I taught them
This pretty planet, sun coming down, gentle blue child.
Here, I'll do one. This one's here. There's so, I mean, I can't, oh, I'm writing on time. Here, let's do this one. Oh, and no, they like this one. And so at the end, I also did like a little for everyone. They all sang. So I had, yeah, it goes on and on. Oh, it's so cute. Here, this was a good one.
And go. I am
So I think by the end they sang the song.
seeds of love.
You can hear that.
Good.
So yeah, so this definitely was like definitely my favorite part. Oh, the recorder was definitely so we did recorder. Rich Love was like, she was amazing. She like
Go.
and this is after like one we were just so like to learn. Wait, hold on. Okay, so this is all of them.
Hey.
I hope you're so proud of that. You see, you can get. Okay, this is powerful. So this, you know, this was him making the drums. This I brought back for, this was Dash's drum, Sebastian. And then I brought a bunch of percussion instruments back.
That's super.
Oh boy. Thank you. Oh wait, there was one. I think I missed. There's one I missed, the dancing one, but it's okay. So
That's super.
And when you left, no one steps in and does that, but you were doing.
no.
Music.
Yeah, so this is just, I put this at the end. If you want to help, and I'll show you, like, I have a couple more minutes to get to the video, but I would say this sponsor a child. If anyone feels like they want to contribute, you can sponsor a child for $40 a month, covers education, food, uniforms, 2 meals a day, and all that stuff. Keep that back burner. Yeah, and then these are more stuff that I want to do to kind of keep the partnership going. I'll show you, I took a couple videos. I'll show you one of these and I'll take any more questions, but just to help me remember everything I learned, because it was very, very, very difficult. And also as proof that I actually did learn something, like I could actually do it. Okay, I'm ready, Francis.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
That was Francis.
Valuable. Let's play the ball. 1, 2, 3, go!
Yeah, I forgot my drum. I don't know. But then, and then, you know, we added, oh, so this was, oh, okay, I'll go really fast. I learned this dance. I'm not going to show you the video because it's very embarrassing because I can't dance. So this was when I went really out of my comfort zone, but I did it. And then the best was when I came and then I surprised the kids. Don't even look at me because I just completely fall apart. But like, it was just, and you could see the thing. So it's like, like, you know, this dance, I learned it. Yeah, so this is but it was just really fun to like be a part. But this is how it's supposed to look. This is the professional dancers doing it. I know. So these people are the ones that talk. I know. So that's how it's like. This is a dance troupe. Yeah, this is just a dance troupe. So it was really, really, yeah. So they're teaching, and then they teach the younger kids to do it. So that, I mean, that's pretty much it. It took me a lot because I feel like it was like I wasn't getting enough protein or something. So I'm kind of like, and then it's so hot, and I'm not like the best dancer. So, but I did, and I made sure I took videos. So I had the videos so that I could practice it and then be able to teach. Yeah. Okay, I guess questions. Anyone have any questions? Oh, this is Francis. So this is all like and stuff like that. More dances. As you can see, I took a lot of the drumming. Okay. And this is the top. And that was like questions in the last 2 minutes. Sorry.
Ariana, Tom Kuhn here. How are you doing?
Hi. Great. How are you?
I'm doing great via Zoom here. This is such an inspiring story, and there was such joy in your face and all the pictures, and you've done so much for so many people. It's so exciting. I wonder if from your standpoint, from your personal standpoint, what is the follow-up in the future?
Oh, I kind of went on that side. So my whole proposal, and which I'm trying to do, is to kind of keep the partnership going. And for some reason, I thought there'd be internet there, and I was going to be doing like Zoom recorder lessons, but there is no internet. So now it's trying to figure out how to keep that going. I'm kind of connected with 4 of the teachers through WhatsApp, so I think it's gonna have to be sort of through there. And I hope to go back. I already have a suitcase full of storybooks that my kids aren't using, so I'm going to try to get that to Cindy when she goes back this summer. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to just go back and keep it going. But it's figuring out how to communicate and do those, like teach the kids, because they can't just go on Zoom. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. But yeah, keep that partnership going.
How could we contribute medical supplies?
Well, pretty soon, like she'll have the list go up again and I'll put it on Facebook and then you can contribute. Yeah, but I think also just the sponsoring the kid is like huge and it's like a bit, and she knows which families in particular really need it. And then and I think we're also looking into like my school, like kind of doing pen pals. So I'm working with the teachers at my school to figure out how to get the kids connected. And like if they learn the same song, then we could record it and, they could sing it for each other. So that's kind of what I'm doing now as follow up, but I do want to go back.
Ariana, just real quickly, this is major impact, but can you describe like maybe 2 things that you've taken away from the whole experience of how you're different or how you view the world differently?
Well, I mean, clearly it was transformative for me. I think, well, the first one was, I feel that just if you're just kind to people, they're kind back to you. Like it's just making connections, even if we don't even speak the same language. If you just kind of are like this, it goes a long way. And that's why I'm hoping just with some of the songs I'm teaching that I can instill that in the kids at my school to do that. For me personally, I felt a huge connection with God that I'm doing the right thing in my, going in terms of like my vocation, but also I feel like it gave me a sense of independence, given what's going on in my personal life, that I can do this like on my own. If I can take bucket showers, if I can, go put myself into it gave me strength as like a human to move forward in my journey.
Thank you.
That's great.
I would make one other observation and not having been there. It's like we're looking at the faces of our ancestors 350 or 400 years ago. A lack of medical care, subsistence living, all these things maybe come to appreciate where we have come from.
Oh yeah, it was like back in time, like just even with the phones, like they couldn't believe my cell phone. They were like, whoa, but it was definitely the transition coming back was extremely difficult. Like I took my kids to Shake Shack and you're just kind of like, what is this? And first of all, like how much it was, then I couldn't believe like you need to eat every single French fry. Like, so that, and I think I'll take that with me. I'm very mindful of food and wasting food. And like, that has changed completely for me. Like, I'm definitely very, particular with what I get and trying to make sure, it's not wasted. Cause you see like, yeah.
Oh,
And the very